Um,
Wait.
Hey Pat, I just
Not
pressed-
yet. Not yet.
Nope. Okay. What's happening?
I have to consent to being recorded here.
Oh shit. Okay. Is that true?
Yeah, it says this meeting is being recorded. By continuing in the meeting, you are consenting to be recorded.
Oh, they've taken all the magic out of it.
So I don't know if this is going to be on air, but I consent. Please record me.
I gotta tell you,
Please turn it off once I'm off camera.
I felt your consent. I felt like your body language was very clear to me. And this is, by the way, this is what I brought to the baseball field because I wasn't sure how much wine I'd have to drink before. So it's in my.
And a good choice of color. That's a safe color for wine.
It hides it. Unidos con Bernie. It's from when I was doing I don't know if you can see the, door-to-door canvassing. And I have a line here so I can measure my wine and cheers.
Cheers as well. We didn't say hi yet, but I guess this is more important. This is too bright. You can't even read that, can you?
Yeah, no, you got to tell me what it says.
So tonight's sponsor unofficially, but if they'd like to be our weekly sponsor, get at me. This is Heretic Chocolate Hazelnut Porter.
Whoa.
It's delicious, 7%. And I highly recommend it if you like porters.
It's okay. All right. So sorry.
Educational show. So for people just joining, this show is very educational. We're here for politics, beer advice, wine advice, apparently.
This is my favorite wine. Noble Vines, 667 Pinot Noir. It's like one step beyond hell, right? And it's ready for this. 14.5%.
Wow.
I don't want anybody to slow me down where I'm going. I need to get where I'm going.
That's a good percent. So in the beer world, it's hard to get to 14.5, but you can do it with a triple. Double IPA gets you to maybe 9 or 10 tops. But once you get over 10, it's triple. But I mean, if the triple IPA company wants to get at me, I mean,
we got all the sponsors. We're starting with a blank slate. So come at us, please.
Yeah, I mean, we are officially now, and I've avoided this forever, but we are now Patreon grifters on the left. We are edgelord. I forgot edgelord. We're edgelord Patreon grifters.
Dirt bag grifter edgelords.
Right. And I should make sure this is clear just for people on Twitter, because they will actually take that segment out of context and make me a red-brown alliance guy or something. I don't know what they will, but Lila and I are paid by literally no one. No one is paying us. No one reached out to us to do this show. There is no alliance with the red-brown right wing, whatever, or anyone here.
No one has a bank account in the Cayman Islands, along with Hillary and all the other people. No one.
I do not consent to that because I may have.
You're gonna cut that.
Cut that.
Like a series of bloops. It's gonna be like all chop cut.
Yeah, I've got a lot of stonks.
Yeah, I got zero. I got no retirement. I got no stonks.
I actually have zero stonks, but I just like saying that word because it's ridiculous. And Twitter, the way Twitter is, a word will pop up on Twitter and it's the word du jour for a month.
You're right. What's the word du jour? I'm
stonks. I mean,
that's like the word apparently. Of the day. I was setting you up.
Yeah.
Like
you were testing.
You
were testing if 7% alcohol could withstand your wit of 14.
I know. I think
or
you got
14.5.
You got to chug that back harder if you want me to be funny. You got to drink harder. So hi, hey Pat.
Lila, good to see you.
It's really good.
So I'm really excited that we're doing this show.
Hey Pat, how are you? Good.
Hello.
Good evening and welcome to our podcast. Punch up. I didn't even realize, I was thinking about the writing thing and punching up, not punching down or left, but I'm punchy because I've been drinking all night. Punchy. There's so many there's like triple entendres, quadruple.
Yeah, there are so many, and there are actually a lot of podcasts with punch up in them that have nothing to do with politics. I think we are the first that relate to politics. So
Right. The rest of them
if
are
you
like,
have trouble finding us, we are not an actors guild. We are not a boxing,
right.
which is weird because so my last name is Cody. I don't care if people want to dox me. It's Patrick Cody, who is also the name of a UFC fighter.
Really?
So Patrick Cody hosting Punch Up Pod might throw some people off. I mean, it might get us some viewers.
Yeah.
Also. We'll
There
see. I'm good with that.
The pugnacious podcast.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, we're not super pugnacious, and we are not clearly interested in punching something up before we bring it to air. We're just letting it all fly, and we'll see what happens. But usually, punching up a script is making it better. So we'll see what happens.
We will again fix that in post. That's our whole game. This entire podcast is going to improve dramatically in post.
It's going to be lots of music and voiceovers.
It's good. Black screen, the curse beep. We'll do the curse beep like 90% of the show. We should start beeping our curses because that would be interesting.
That would be interesting. I know that cursing really offends a lot of people. But God, there's so much bigger stuff I'm offended by. It's amazing that would be the thing.
Yeah. So I did want to say to people watching right now, we are going to have a very casual podcast. Like, we're going to have some segments in there once in a while. And we'll have really straight interviews with, legitimate politicians. If they want to come on and have a beer with us and have a casual interview, that's great. But I think our plan, and we're winging all of this. We're kind of making it up. We have a loose plan, but if people want to come on and have a heart-to-heart interview where you're completely sober, that's like really encouraged. Come on our show. Not that we're reaching out for that, but we want to have a casual night where people just, where we have a conversation about what happened during the week, the issues that we just want to talk about, where it's not so stressed and uptight, and we're also not crazy reactive people. We're not people out trying to get viewers for our podcast. We really don't give a shit too much, and I think the alcohol is a good way to express that.
I concur 100%.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That sums it all up. So cheers.
Go on.
No, I feel like one of the things that you got.
The filters are fun.
Oh my God! Look at you.
Hey
there. We got.
How you doing?
Disco time.
Hey girl.
Oh my God.
Sorry, that needs to go away. But I can't stop playing with them. Once I found those filters, they are fun to play with.
I think one of the things that's been so upsetting is watching the left eat its own. And I feel like something you and I agree on 100% is that that's not where the focus should ever be. The focus is always on the people who are controlling the purse strings and the government and the program. So we're not this is supposed to be fun and casual and easy for those of us who basically align on policy and
and it's great to disagree, but if this show turns into a podcast about podcasts, just let me know, because I don't want to do that.
We don't need any more podcasts.
Yeah, I'm fine with podcasts. It's great that there are podcasts, but there are actually literally podcasts whose their entire premise is talking about other podcasts, and we want nothing to do with any of that. We want to focus on issues that we decide are relevant, stuff that happens during the week.
But debate is good.
Beer and wine.
I'm not canceling you for your shitty little 7% alcohol volume. That's not. I'm not gonna make fun of you for drinking such a little boy alcohol volume. No, I'm joking. I'm totally joking. I was about to make.
But have you checked out the size of this can? Can I just say this is a girthy can?
It may only be 6 inches long, but it's as wide as it's like 12. I don't know. All the bad jokes, all my prom jokes. are
right.
gonna.
And you know how Twitter is. Twitter this week was like, you can't joke about penis size, apparently.
Oh my God.
So I mean, that's fair. I respect that, but we'll just edit out the girthy part because that was just a joke.
We're so screwed if we can't. We've killed humor. We have entirely killed humor.
So our segment tonight is going to be the. So we have a couple segments, but one is we watch this, you don't have to, which this reminds me of that.
And let me tell you, you all owe us a lot for watching this one because
holy shit. Yeah, nobody wants to watch Bill Maher. I mean, if you're going to hate watch a show, it's a great show to hate watch. But, yeah, but he's the most politically incorrect person, and it's not funny. Is the why? We're going to get into it, I guess, but like.
Let's get into it. Let's do it. All right.
Should we do our first segment? We want to, or do we want to talk about what happened this week? I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Sorry.
So, okay, audience, we are winging all of this. We literally don't know when the segments are going to come in.
Yeah.
We're going to edit and post. I'm going to do a splashy graphic around here somewhere, maybe.
Make you forget the pain of what's happening.
There might be music. There might be, elevator lobby music, like as you wait. I mean, I'm probably going to stop and get a beer, and you might have to listen to something in that time.
I brought all my supplies right next to me because I don't have to get up. I don't want to miss a thing, Pat. Well, I'm right here. I'm glued to the monitor.
I don't know. Should I reveal it? This is complicated,
but left. Oh, you're back.
Should I save this for the Patreon Plus
gold platinum? You are a level? You have Patreon people?
Not well, sort of. And I apologize to them in advance because I have done nothing with it, but I have like 2 or 3, and we can edit them out. Jesus Christ. We can edit it out. So for our Patreon, my apartment is so small that here is my fridge.
What's in literally? That fridge?
Oh,
this is like Eric Adams in New Jersey, coming to you from New Jersey with your vegan special there. What's happening?
Right? And hopefully this is not, I don't want to dox my actual address, but that's a jury summons.
Oh,
I have a jury summons. So I'll be going to jury days.
I was summoned last year or a year and a half ago before COVID. And I went and I was dismissed it was about Section 8 housing and some landlord who wanted to take over Section 8 housing. And I was dismissed when I said that I thought everyone should have had the right to a dignified life. And they were like, thank you.
Goodbye. Wow. Straight to jail.
Yeah, it was like out. So you don't even need to say like the most racist, revolting things I know sometimes people try to do to get out. You just need to you need to talk about the decency of what you hope a person's life should be.
Have some heart.
Yeah, let's forget it. So that could bring us to the Supreme Court rulings of the week, or there's so much to discuss. There's like a plethora of sadness and disgustingness to discuss. Do you have a favorite category?
Well, so one good thing is that as terrible as the Affordable Care Act is, that was upheld. So I mean, but again. Well, yeah, it's awful, but I mean, we were people on the left were fear-mongered forever that, oh my God, this Supreme Court is going to take away Affordable Care Act. So that didn't happen. 7-2, I believe.
Yeah.
So tell me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, yeah. Tell me what?
You go ahead.
Wait, I need to get some crap like that. You cannot be the only one. Wait a second.
I can do it on demand. I'm
gonna figure something out. Yeah. Wait, I need a darker one. Ew. What do you think? Can you see this, or am I just doing it for myself?
Oh, I can, but I'm so obsessed with my own picture. I don't even have you on screen.
Oh my God! No, I'm taking no eyebrow.
Wow.
Not good, right?
I mean, I wouldn't date you. But
really? Okay, you're about to get canceled. You know that's gonna happen, right? I'm gonna take it all off.
Turn this off.
I'm going natural. I'm just not gonna do any of that kind of crap.
You know what's funny, at least to me, is that I literally did all these looks just like in one day for fun. I grew a big ass, like terrible beard. And
Right?
my beard goes so gray. And it ages me like 50 years. So, but
Yep.
I did it and then I trimmed it down and shared pictures of how awful I looked. So that's probably the only fun thing I did during this entire COVID period.
Really? Okay. This has been the worst year of my life. Well, it started obviously with Bernie withdrawing from the primary, and that killed all my hope for myself and for my children's future. Not to put too negative a spin on
Right.
our first show.
Other than that, it wasn't that
And
bad.
then COVID, and that, I mean, just horrific. It was like everything that I'd been scared of for my children's future with climate change was already like just happened right away. And we were super incredibly lucky, right? Like we have a roof over our heads. I mean, we charged a lot on credit cards, but we had food on the table. My older son was supposed to go to college. He took a gap year, so I got an extra year with him. And we had a lot of family time. And some of it was really lovely and wonderful. And as the mommy, I loved it. I mean, there were plenty of times that we would all like go into different corners of our house and just need to socially distance from each other because but my younger son, Xander, started cooking every meal for us and everything from scratch. So
Nice.
for me, COVID became eating and drinking everything that came in front of my eyes went to my mouth, everything. It was quite a year for me.
Yeah. I mean, I would have done that as well, but I live in an apartment that's about 10 feet by 10 feet in Sacramento, as you can see by my
Let me see that
fridge.
refrigerator again.
I have to lean over and you might see that I'm wearing some like cargo shorts, which
Okay.
could also get me canceled, but they're like modern cargo shorts.
Yeah,
This whole show is going to be about us, by the way. We haven't even talked politics,
not
obviously,
yet. We got some
but
time.
maybe
But
we should get
okay,
into politics. But
but wait,
yeah,
I just
you
want to know,
see,
what are the staples in your refrigerator? Like, what do you always have?
I have 28 ways to make burritos. Like my
Really?
burritos are my life. Like I'm not kidding. I could do it right now. I could bring out 5 kinds of salsa. Uh,
Okay.
three three are the same salsa, but I know I use so much of that salsa that I need to buy 3 of them.
Okay. Is it
And I
spicy
also
or
uh, it's a medium. It's like a very tomatoey one. That the one I
okay?
have a lot of because I'm clearly deficient in something because I will take a spoon to that salsa and just eat salsa once in a while.
I love it. So it's tomato. Wait, what tomato? Okay, just I finished the one that was supposed to be for the baseball field. What? Wait, tomato gives you something that's really important. Tomatoes do. That's a good thing.
I mean, okay. So tomatoes are so for men. Tomatoes turn out to be the number one source of antioxidants, I believe.
Oh, okay. Or
So, I mean, antioxidants at large. Well, yeah, or wine. But for most people in America, I believe coffee is, believe it or not, one of the largest sorts of antioxidants. So coffee
yes,
gets an incredibly bad rap, but you know, it's
yeah,
largely good for you. I mean, what's bad for you is when you add the sugar and the cream
right,
and all that stuff. But if
right.
you just have black coffee is not bad for most people. So
There was just a study they talked about yesterday where coffee drinkers, if you drink 3 cups of coffee a day, you have an incredibly reduced percent chance of getting liver disease. And I feel like that's a great balance for my nighttime ritual.
highly possible
I'm
chance
like,
of getting
I'm
liver
balanced.
disease.
It's all about balance,
Yeah.
baby. Yeah. It's
Yeah. So, I mean, you bring up what we did during COVID. Um, I mean, honestly, I was the laziest bastard I've ever been in my life.
I love
I
it.
sat on my couch. I drank way more than normal. I normally never drink at home. Like my drinking is entirely out and about in the world.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't getting up at breakfast and having, beer and wine, but like at night I would have, we'd play game night a lot for Jackbox. I mean, I need some sort of competition. I found Leftist online and created a, online Jackbox thing. But
God, I didn't get the invitation. That's so weird.
You did, but not till very late.
The teams had already been formed, and I just kind of felt weird about it. I'll wait for next season. What?
Right. I'm trying to give you fascinating.
Oh my God, your crazy eyebrows.
Eyebrows.
Oh, okay. But wait,
They're not even that interesting. Why wouldn't you make more interesting eyebrows? Although now when I take it off, I realize like I don't even have eyebrows.
Well, now I don't want to say anything because I don't know which are really yours.
These are my real non-existent eyebrows. Although I have eyebrows, they just don't get caught on camera very well.
You look great, but you're kind of messing with my perception because I'm on my third or fourth glass of wine, so I'm not sure what's happening. Wow. Okay, so well, wait a second. So you're not. So I am a drinker. Like
I mean, my ritual in my world before all of COVID was alcohol maybe twice a week. I mean, I'm very competitive. I need to play pool or darts. So once a week I would go out and play darts and we'd drink a few beers, that kind of thing, go play pool.
Like bar sports.
Yeah. I mean, I'm believe me.
Josh, my husband's like that, bar sports.
Yeah. I mean,
I
don't want to give away too much. This is for the patrons. Because so many people care about this stuff. But I guess this is just getting to know us because we have a podcast and,
and we're grifters.
And we're grifting. So you have to pay attention. But yeah, I'm very competitive with anything. So I used to play competitive pool. I used to play in tournaments in Vegas.
Really?
I play darts. I once upon a time, I survived on poker.
Oh my God, I didn't know
for 2 years. For 2 years, I lived on poker. So yeah, I could play.
Really?
Which proves I'm a grifter. I'm just going to say
totally
it right
a grifter, but also that's so cool.
Yeah, but I should give a little backstory onto this.
Yeah.
To this. So I worked for an evil corporation.
Okay.
I knew they were evil, and previous to that, like in college, I went and while I was in college, I worked in the casinos in Harrah's, Tahoe, as a blackjack dealer. They love college kids to deal blackjack. Yeah. So anyway, that's what got me around that kind of world. I learned how to play poker, and then I left Tahoe and went to work for an internet company that turned out to be an evil corporation. I was a manager. I would go into work every day, and I knew that they were going to outsource the jobs of all the people that worked for me. They started out as a great internet company, like the .com boom, where we had oh, everything's great. You got kids with green hair and mohawks running the place. It was all casual. But then it became clear they were outsourcing a lot of these jobs, and I even got sent to train some of the people that would replace us. That were getting paid we were making good money, and the people that worked for me made great money. But they were replacing those jobs,
right,
and closing the whole center down for jobs that paid like minimum wage in Texas, which was significantly lower than minimum wage in California,
right,
which was the whole game.
Right.
So anyway, the whole plan was, I knew that they were going to outsource these jobs, and they created sales quotas for people and just performance quotas that were unmeetable for people that worked for me. And the whole idea was that they knew they were going to eventually have to pay these people a severance package, and they wanted that pool of people down as small as possible.
Right.
So if you want to talk about something that radicalized me, that was it.
Yeah.
So I saw that coming for almost a year and tucked away all my money, which wasn't a lot. And then
you put it all on black.
Finally, I kept waiting for this severance thing. So I would come into work every day and protect all these employees, because they all should have been fired probably by the company standards. And I was so stressed out about getting fired. And finally, I was just like, after a year of waiting for this hammer to drop, I'm like, I quit. And of course, a month later, they do it and fire everyone. And I missed out on like a huge severance package. But that's not really relevant. What's relevant is because we were talking about this poker story.
First of all, I just want to say, so you don't dox yourself, You're actually coming to us from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
I'm in Iowa in a bunker.
I just don't want, but yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I've been doxxed so many times. I don't really care.
I tried to find you today with a delivery person and we couldn't even get you because you were in the damn shower. That's how unfindable you are.
Yeah, my shower, I was downstairs in my apartment with video cameras on the door. I'm like one of those paranoid. I saw the guy and I'm like, I don't trust it.
Ignore. Yeah. Decline. Sorry.
All right. So anyway, just to finish my story, because I'm in a rant here.
Yes.
I'm in an alcohol infused rant. So I knew that I'd quit my job and I'd saved up some money. So I moved to Berkeley and I was like, I'm just going to have some fun for a while.
You said it right there. You said it.
And figure out what the hell I want to do.
Right.
I'm like, I don't want, I always thought law school, but that's a whole nother thing. But so, and then I'm out there and I had learned poker a lot very well and read a lot of books and studied it. And it was the internet boom for poker. And I learned how to make, I would just make $300 a day playing poker, goofing off, and go play pool and grift, like, you know how people are grifters. So that's my background. There you go. So I ended up doing it for 2 years because what is the draw to get back to work if you can pay your rent? Yeah. And I just came from a really terrible environment where I was I was really in with management. I was like on the fast track. Yeah. But then all of it crashed really immediately. So. Yeah.
And it doesn't feel good to make your money that way, obviously. So like, yeah, I mean, so is that not something you can still do? The poker and the.
No, I really just burned the hell out on it. I mean, it's a really depressing. Do not play poker for a living, people.
Can I ask you something? Yeah. Why is the one thing that's illegal in Vegas is math? I don't get it. Like, why can't you count? I don't get why you can't count in poker. And that's what, like, I don't get it. You can do like drugs, you can have prostitutes, you can strip, whatever, all of that. I'm fine with all of that. But like the one thing you can't do is the math. I don't get it.
If you're too good at math, I mean, it's all about winning. So the casinos have, when people say like the casinos are cheating or something, like I guarantee you are not getting cheated by the casinos. They have such a sweet gig with the math being in their favor, right? That they are not going to risk giving that up to cheat you out of whatever money you have.
Right.
Yeah. So, but if you're too good, if you win at things, they can kick you out legally.
Well, why? Like, how is that okay? I don't get it. Like, the one thing that you're supposed to do when you're playing cards that have numbers, I would think, is be computing. Like, why is that allowed to be not okay? I don't even understand the justification. It's so crazy to me. You can't count cards.
Well, so you don't need a justification because in Vegas, all the casino profits pay for the taxes. Oh. So you don't pay state taxes in Las Vegas. Right. So that goes a long way. And a lot of the casino workers, hotel workers, tourism industry, and with all corruption, people in the casinos are dictating a lot of the policy in the state.
Right.
We've seen that with the Culinary Institute, with the Bernie stuff.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, we should be talking politics.
Wait, yeah. What happened today? It was a slow news day. Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions. Should I ask you some questions?
Let's go.
Okay. First of all, friend of the show, Paula Jean Swearengin, was arrested today. What happened? Why was she arrested? What awful thing was she doing at Capitol Hill?
Yeah. So we need to investigate this because we interviewed her this week and we're going to show that later. And if the clips that we show here, if you want to learn some more, we have the full video up that we posted with her. But she and
her campaign manager, right? Kaylen Barker, right? Also,
Kaylen Barker. And and they were both excellent, great. I mean, we just let them talk. I mean, there's so much to expose with the West Virginia Democratic Party with just overt racism,
corruption, and all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this week there was an audio tape leaked Well, we'll get to that. But there was an audio tape with Joe Manchin where he's basically telling his donors, like, we really need to pass this stuff so that they don't try to get rid of the filibuster. So, you guys should be funding Republicans as well.
Right.
It's just a mess. And it was Joe Lieberman's, what was the name of the group?
No Label. No Label.
Yeah. So Joe Lieberman has a group called No Label.
Me with my brain, with my 14.5% brain.
It's some of those tannins or something in the wine.
Yes, that's what it is.
Smarter.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the Joe Lieberman third way, no labels bullshit that's going to give money to Republicans to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened today? So we didn't know this when we interviewed Paula Jean,
right?
But it turns out that she and the People's Movement,
the poor people's movement, right? Yep.
And some other people,
Reverend Barber. Oh my God, my brain. Wait, I got it right here. Reverend Jesse Jackson, Reverend Barber, right. Paula Jean, and a bunch of other people were arrested today while they were protesting Mitch McConnell and Joe Manchin today on Capitol Hill.
Right. So Paula got out apparently an hour or two before. I mean, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but an hour or two before you and I are discussing this right now. Right. So we haven't had a chance to talk to her yet. Hopefully we'll get a statement or a quick little interview and edit that out too.
Right.
Maybe you're not even hearing this part because we have the interview.
Who knows? It's like snaps and crackles. They're all happening.
Yeah. Look at the graphic. Read the graphic. I don't know.
Where's your mustache? Your goatee. Yes. Come back up. Oh, wow. That's fast. You look like Ethan Hawke for a second there.
They need to add some more because.
Oh, wow. No.
I had this porn stash for a day. Except I wish they would add a few more because I grew it out with the twirlies.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sort of known for my terrible hat that people make fun of on Twitter, that image.
I like it, but I realize I've never seen your actual head.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a bald.
The Patreon subscribers. Oh, wait. Patreon. No, I'm joking.
If you pay for the Patreon, you will see my bald head. You know what? That is actually a good idea because the people that hate me might join our Patreon to get the pictures.
Okay.
So they can meme me.
They're gonna hate join you. They're gonna hate join.
Yeah, I mean, have you been memed? I've been memed.
No, you're way more famous than I have. Nobody cares to meme me. Nobody gives a shit. They just ignore me. They just press delete, decline, ignore, block.
I mean, I have never seen a meme that I didn't love though. Like they're so bad and hilarious. Yeah, they're.
Now you need to post them in this episode. I need to see a few of them for sure.
All right. You gave me homework. That's a mess.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm going to write it down and email it to you because I think you maybe have had too much of your 7% to remember this tomorrow.
That's fair. That's fair. So one of them is they put my head on the body of this little skinny boy. And he's holding like a wilted rose or something. I mean, it's kind of funny. And I got memed this week with like, what did it say? It was like it was me with like money over my eyes.
Oh my God. Are you kidding? Did they see your refrigerator?
Yeah. And it was like, buy my FTV merchandise. Something like I don't have any FTV merchandise. Like
okay, you know what? I would just like to say a thing right now because this makes me so mad. What is that? What is the idea behind denigrating people who wanted to force the vote? Where are we? Where are we on Medicare for all? Where are we on the $15 minimum wage?
Yeah.
Where are we on any of this? Like, how is it a grift to ask, to demand the people that we all volunteered for, that we sent money to do the thing we sent them to Congress to do? We are in the middle of a global pandemic. It's not over, folks. It is not. And we don't have health care. We don't have a minimum wage that's a living wage. we have an infrastructure plan right now that we'll be lucky if they build a single bridge. I mean, truly, that is where we are. It is under $1 trillion. That is less than I think Bill Gates made in the last year. I mean, it is so disgusting. And they're going to call you a grifter with money balls in your eyes or whatever the hell. And we can't demand from the people we sent to Congress to fight for people to have healthcare is a human right. Where are we? I mean, I know you know this, but like, God, that makes me so mad that somebody would spend energy to do that to you. Sorry.
No, I mean, I've been on Twitter for years. I have thick skin. Every once in a while I'll punch back and, so my strategy dealing with those people is just to wait, put the facts out once every 3 or 4 months. I'll shoot down their arguments how ridiculous they are. But I don't want to give them they don't have much of an audience at this point. It's just
you don't want to give them air to
I don't want to give them air. But okay, so it's not just me. It's if you and I was a tepid FTV supporter. Like, I mean, I fully support it, but I wasn't attacking people anti-FTV ever because it was a late strategy for one, admittedly, although, it was the strategy that AOC literally ran on. So it's not like it came out of nowhere, but the big push from the left came late, somewhat late. So, I mean, I never thought people, just because you disagreed with the strategy didn't make you my enemy.
100%. I agree.
And so, and so what really bothered me is that from the jump, my opinion on it, my strategy on it in dealing with people that disagree with me was to not ostracize them. I didn't want, I saw immediately that was being used as a wedge issue from people, Republicans, centrists, they wanted to divide the real progressives on this issue. So immediately I was like, I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to attack people that disagree with me on this. I'm going to be neutral on it. I mean, I'm going to be pro FTV, but I never was the fraud squatter.
Me too.
None of that stuff. So this is where you can see the real motives of some of these people that attack, people like me on this, because I didn't use the fraud squad, but they would attack me saying I did. I never pushed the Red Brown Alliance, but they would attack me saying I did. I never have been a Jimmy Dore fanboy, although, I've been on his show, but I'm not like pushing any of the, I'm not a nut about it. And can I just go on record right now as saying all boogs are bad? I mean, I'm not a Boogaloo fan. I don't support, like, to me, it's the same as all cops are bad.
I agree.
It's like if
you choose who you want to align with, and that's not where we're putting. I'm not putting support behind that.
Individually, there might be some boogs that are okay. Sure, but I would never jump in and be cool with an organization where 30% of the people were racist.
No,
20%. If 20% of the group was racist, I would leave the group. So in the boogs, what's the percentage? I don't give a shit. The percentage is too high to say I'm going to affiliate myself with this organization. So I mean, so all that is nonsense. So my point of view on that, all that stuff has been clear from day one. Yet I get attacked. So why do I get attacked? I get attacked because I was pro force the vote, which was pro pushing these people to respond to us.
Do what they were sent to Congress to do.
Right. So none of it was about like, I'm some vitriolic, toxic person.
No.
But I think I'm a good example of this because I wasn't that guy. So if I'm getting those attacks for these things, that it's clear to me. And I mean, we know some of the people behind us, but we are not going to get into any of that stuff on this show. This show is not about attacking those people.
Nope.
It's not about attacking the podcaster.
The tactics were really fascinating because right away when I wrote anything about force the vote, and I'm with you, I didn't shame anybody for voting for Joe Biden. Wasn't my vote, but we all come down on different issues for different reasons. And when I wrote anything about force the vote and Medicare for all, and giving Pelosi some, pushback right away. It was like, well, Jimmy Dore. I was like, I have nothing to do with Jimmy Dore. This has nothing to do with Jimmy Dore. I want people to have health care. But it was just so interesting. It's like they all got their talking points and they went ahead with that, regardless of the people they were actually interacting with or trying to sort of, criticize or bring down, with some association to somebody who I don't have. I mean, he did use one of my tweets on his show. It was a centerpiece. No, but I just, it was so clear that there was like a straw man put out there to try to bring down a movement. And then it makes everybody who's on that side, for me, a little suspicious. And that was a bummer. It was just a bummer, because we're not fighting for it. Like, who's fighting for it? We're still not there. We're talking about lowering Medicare to 60.
If I disagree with someone on that strategy, what does that matter? Like, okay, so there are people that want to press the squad harder than I want to, for example. Right. There are people that are way to the left of me on thinking, I mean, I don't know if it's left, but there are people that strategically think the squads are complete fucking sellout, awful, like from the jump, evil people. Now, I don't believe that. Yeah. I believe their strategy sucks. I believe they're weak as hell sometimes. I believe some, have fallen into the comfort of not annoying their coworkers in some ways. I think some have just bad strategies and bad understanding of politics. I mean, when you praise Biden, you get what we got, which is, if the narrative is that Biden is appeasing progressives and the progressives that represent us are saying he's doing great, it makes it really hard for a lot of us to push for a further position when
they've run cover for him.
It's difficult. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but the people that are left of me are not my enemy. Like if you have a harsher criticism of the squad than I have, which, I'm harsh on them. I just, whatever. I don't vocalize how I feel about them sometimes, but I guess I got a show now, so let's go. But if you're to the left, what is the harm in you holding your position without being my enemy? If you're on my left on that issue.
Yeah.
If you think they're bigger pieces of shit than I do, I don't need to terrorize you. They're going to show us who they are.
Right.
We're going to see it with their actions, so I would err on being in agreement with those people than the people that are telling you, oh, stop criticizing them. Right. Stop. Like, I would never tell someone to stop criticizing them, because the more pressure you put on any politician, Bernie included, easier,
actually, it makes their job easier, because then they have to answer to us as opposed to their corporate donors or whoever's putting pressure on them. That was the thing that happened with Biden right away. Is all the vote blue, no matter who, were like, listen, he just got in. You have to give him some time. You have to give him some time. It's only been 10 days. It's only been 50 days. It's only been 100 days. But when he became the de facto nominee back in March of 2020, he was already getting pressure from every single Wall Street donor, military industrial complex. Like, they were all, he was getting that pressure right away. So it was never too early. We were already late. We were all late. So anybody who was telling us to be quiet was running interference for Wall Street and the military industrial complex. So that was already happening. Anybody who doesn't understand those are the people I a little bit have no time for, because I feel like a lot of people just want to feel happy about like where we are and just like give it time. There's no time. We were out of time 30 years ago, 40 years ago, right? So that's where my frustration lies a little bit with like people, I know, like Punch Up, we're all like, I know that you and I are in agreement that like our criticism and antagonism should go towards the people who actually have power. But unfortunately, one part of the power structure is the group of people who are just ready to fall in line every time. Are you putting a mustache on?
No, I'm very OCD about this mic being straight,
It's
which, but I don't know what to do with my mic. Like in the Paula Jean interview, it comes at an angle.
well,
I'm
it's always
sorry.
good to
I'm
keep us on our
completely
toes.
interrupting politics
No, it's
tonight,
okay.
but
I feel like I had a good train going, and but maybe I didn't, and maybe you saved me. But anyway, mostly what's very frustrating to me is that there's so many people. Oh my God. Now I feel a little, now it's like disrespectful. No, I'm totally joking.
and it's actually perfect because there's nothing you can probably do. The Zoom filters are all meant for men. This is like terrible misogyny here.
Yeah, I need like a big like tampon or boobs or something. There's nothing. There's lipstick.
Yeah. We are going to have to edit this because we have ranted on and on for
A lot.
way too
Yeah.
freaking long.
Yeah.
And I apologize. So let's get to the thing. But
all right, let's get to the thing. We got a lot to discuss. Okay. Because I can smell my Xander, who's my younger son, 15. I can smell he made something. It's coming from the kitchen. And
oh shit.
No, it's okay. I'll reheat mine, but I'm just saying like a little bit on my like it's but I've had
some envy.
This might be my 5th glass of wine. And so I'm a little bit needing some food to just like, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
And we could even take a break for food.
All right.
I'm not against it if you're really hungry. Because I didn't warn you, but I actually went and got a beer and peed. So I should have told you.
Peed?
I mean, I didn't want to say it on the air. I didn't want to say it on the air. So you should take a moment.
I'm okay right now.
Okay.
Let's just get into some of it. Okay.
Yeah, because
yeah.
And just so you know, edit all of my bullshit about the internet job and poker. I don't know.
I mean, we'll figure it out.
It's your call.
You're doing, all you're doing is giving me a ton of fucking work. Keep talking.
Let's go on.
Keep talking. All right.
I need a shirt change. I don't like the way it looks. Let's get a new shirt.
No, I really like it. Are you really going to go do a wardrobe change? It's like Madonna. I've got Madonna as my that's an old person reference. Madonna. Oh God, here comes a new filter. Oh, I thought you were going to.
I'm not. God, they need some more though. Can I upgrade and buy some more? I would buy every filter.
Oh yes, it's like Fortnite. It's like Fortnite for middle-aged people. We're like, I need a new filter on my Zoom call.
Every time you talk, I'm gonna go.
And so basically, you're undermining it. Just so sexist. It's such a Bernie bro move. It's so sexist. Like you undermine everything I'm saying with your.
Unfortunately, we already interviewed Paula Jean. But if I get an opportunity to have some serious politician on the line,
I really want you to go. Listen, the next person we get on, I double dog dare you. Oh Jesus! Oh, please, now I'm not sure. No, that's the one. The Ted Lasso interview. That's the Ted Lasso interview, right?
Oh my God, Ted Lasso. Yep. All right, so let's get to the real stuff.
Okay,
we actually have news and stuff we want to talk about.
We have things we need to talk about. One thing that I find really fascinating is that under Trump, it's crazy to me that I need to say this, but like, I loathe him. I don't know any Republicans. I certainly would cross the street to get away from somebody like Trump. Since the 1980s, we've all known who he is. I didn't go to his weddings. I didn't play golf with him, right? I'm not like, I find him deplorable. He killed, under his administration, basically allowed to die 400,000 people. Under the Biden administration, 200,000 people have been killed because of the lack of approach that the zero COVID countries have taken. So instead, once Biden came into power, we have not counted the deaths anymore. We only count the vaccinated population. And there was a goal for the vaccinated population to be 70% of adults 18 and older is adult by July 4th. We are going to miss that mark by huge margins. And so today, in a mission accomplished banner, George W. kind of way, the mainstream media said, well, Biden has actually, his administration has met the goal in a way, if you only count 30 years old and over. We are at 70% of the first shot or more. And here's the thing. I'm pro-science, I'm pro-vaccination. I think many people would be, but our science has been completely politicized. When we still have Fauci in office after everything he's done and contributed to. And, a lot of the hesitancy comes from, of course, skepticism about the science and the politics, but also just like people are scared to go get a vaccination because they might have to pay. People were told that everything that was COVID related would be free. And people who have buried their loved ones have still been stuck with tens of thousands of dollars of bills. So, the way to deal with a distrust and mistrust of the government is to support universal programs, to have a government that is all in for its people. And we don't have that on any level. So if, right now, the mainstream media is going to push, we're basically meeting our quota. I don't know what's happening with the Delta variant. Right now, I just feel like we have a society that's falling apart because our government is not working for its people. So the White House says it's reached its vaccine goal, kinda, is the headline right now.
Yeah, well, so they haven't, is the bottom line. They have not met the goal. So I'm a science believer, 100%. There's no conspiracy here. We should wear masks. The world, all the world's scientists did not collude to con the entire world into some, disease plan to chip people. All that is bullshit. Okay, great. But the whole believe in science thing requires being honest. And that's where Fauci always fell apart. That's where the CDC falls apart. You can't immediately say to the public that, okay, your kids are as safe at 3 feet as they were at 6 feet. Like overnight, literally overnight, that was the case with Biden. And it's probably true that they are as safe at 3 feet as 6 feet, but 6 feet wasn't safe is the whole point of that.
But that was like their little footnote that was like their gotcha, right?
Right. And that the study that supported that science, was a very controlled setting, which was not replicated.
Independently verifiable, right?
Replicatable. I don't know. Can we get a wordsmith? Can someone zoom it? Can we have a graphic with the right word?
Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom in with the graphic with the right
You're
word.
giving me so much editing homework.
No, I'm gonna do that part. I got all the Zoom graphics. I got that things that swoosh in. Yeah. Okay, so
independently verifiable. It's not because we knew, right?
Well, no, but so the science that said at 3 feet your kids are as safe as they are at 6 feet, which only came once Biden got elected, and once they realized, holy shit, we can't actually open schools if our kids are 6 feet apart. We can't do it. The math isn't there. They have to be 3 feet. So immediately it was like just as safe for them to be at 3 feet. But they proved that with the school that had crazy, ventilation systems that all these other schools don't have. So,
right. But also the point was what you said initially, which was 6 feet was never, it had to be 18, 20, 24 feet or more.
It was about being in a closed environment was never safe, and it never was safe. But
But then it
immediately,
could be like 1 foot. You could be 2 inches. It's the same as 6 feet because neither is safe.
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Go on.
So, okay. So what's frustrating, of course, is that right now the headlines are being written that it's like we've reached our goal. It's the mission accomplished moment that's happening again, and we're seeing like mainstream media fluff that up because we want to have a win for Biden, right? So that's the first point. We've covered it. Good. We all are.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good.
but the clear problem with that is, let's say this Delta variant is a mess because it's highly contagious. I don't want to scare people, but it's highly contagious. So, I mean, we're getting sort of the same messages we got from Trump from Biden now.
There's no difference in the approach, actually, right?
Yeah.
It's just vaccination. And here's what's scary is, so Israel, I think, is the country that has done the best, like has the highest numbers of vaccinated population. I think they might be in the 80 percentile with a good vaccination. They sent their kids back to school because we all want to open up the economy. And what better way to get your parents back to work than to send your kids to school who aren't vaccinated? They did not require masks. And they are now about to face another lockdown because this Delta variant is spreading. Because why are we just throwing away our children? Like, I really don't understand it. You know, I'm so lucky that my kids are old enough now to be vaccinated. But when my 15-year-old wasn't old enough, even though 3 of us in the house were, but my 15-year-old wasn't, I still felt incredibly, fragile about all of it. We didn't go out and do things. Like, we have been so quarantined, both to protect ourselves, but to protect our community. And the fact that they're like everybody under 12 right now is not vaccinated. And long COVID, we don't talk about that anymore. Long COVID is actually, it's a real issue. I'm going to die in a few decades, couple decades, few years, whatever. I'm out. I'm done. I'm tapping out. But like, my kids have their whole lives, and then they're going to get married and have kids. And like, we don't know the repercussions of all of this. And we're being so cavalier about our children. It's just kind of insane to me.
Well, that's the point, I think, that should worry all of us right now. So let's just assume like the message right now is that we're going to get through this. We're probably fine. We've been vaccinated. Everything's opening up. Like in California here now, masks are pretty much optional everywhere. Like no one right. cares if you don't wear a mask, right? But then we also have the Delta variant blowing up. So if and when this becomes an actual problem, I don't see how we pivot to another, lockdown or whatever you want to call it. I don't see how people are going to embrace that when Biden himself has pushed this, everything's fine sort of thing. So they're not going to want to own responsibility for having blown this.
Right.
So they're going to push forward with the same, we just have to live with it kind of thing at this point.
You have to live with it, and you don't have universal health care, right? So people are going to have long COVID, and they might not always be able to say it is because of COVID. We're just forcing people back into an economy to make some money and just deciding that certain numbers of our population are expendable. They're just sacrifices for the economy. That's what's happening. And that's really depressing to me.
Yeah. And it's all political, obviously, like in California, Newsom's under a recall because of how he handled COVID. But like, he's under the recall is because he locked down, which was the responsible thing. But like, this is the problem with centrism. This is the problem with just being, like playing the polls, the right thing to do was different than meeting both these people that disagree. It's not like finding the middle and where these people disagree. Like the science is a science. you know, and he obviously he modeled terrible behavior, went out to eat at the what's the bougie joint?
Oh, the French Laundry or
The
something.
French Laundry with this, you know, I mean, he was a terrible whatever.
Awful. Yeah.
Let's see what happens with him. But like, I mean, I support recalling him because he's full of shit. You know, he ran on all these things
Right.
that he's,
Right.
you know, he hyped himself up as this pro Medicare for all guy forever. And then here we are in a pandemic and he's doing everything he can to kill efforts for Medicare for all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. I think, you know, the one thing that I think always needs to be said every day and in response to everything that happens is we're an oligarchy. Like that is what we are. We're run by the moneyed class. We are an oligarchy. And everything that our politicians do, almost every single one of our politicians is to benefit the donor class and their rich buddies. And that's just it. So like once you see that, it's actually, you know, you had sort of like a really kind and lovely idea of like we're nuanced, and that's great. We are on some level. I'm actually on some level not. I feel like it's all just, it is so clear. Our, you know, it's not right or left for our Supreme Court. They are all working for the same corporate interests. And they will throw some bones to, you know, like the gay wedding cake, whatever the hell, or, you know, Title IX, or, you know, they'll do those things because that, or, you know, abortion, great. But like, how many people die of abortion, like not being able to get an abortion every year? Awful. Never should happen. I feel like abortion should be on demand at any point, always. I will say that right now. I would put no parameters on it at all.
Right. Agreed.
However, you know, if what they are doing is kowtowing a little bit to this sort of like liberal idea of, you know, racial equality and tokenism, they do that. What they will never ever do is come out in favor for labor unions or workers' rights or healthcare for people just to survive. So it just feels like we're all just like dancing around this ridiculousness. And I know this is, we're supposed to be so chill, and I'm sorry. I'm not being chill.
We're gonna edit in some chill.
Okay, we're gonna
I'll have
edit
some like splash. There'll be like flaming graphics going
You're right.
across the
I'm gonna be
screen,
chill.
and
But
no.
It's not about like I'm not. I'm just so. It is so clear that we have descended into an oligarchy, right? I mean, our last president was a billionaire, possibly, whatever the fuck. But like, yeah.
I mean, it's okay. So people that know us at this point probably agree with us, but it's clear as all day. If during a pandemic you cannot get your party on the left to agree that we should have Medicare for all, when are you going to get it? You're not going to get more support than you could possibly get now, which is extremely depressing to people on our side with the movement, because this was the time to push for this stuff as hard as possible. And this is why we push so hard at the squad and people that are progressives. It's like, if now you're going to say Biden and his administration are doing fine, I give him an A, they listen to us, you know, whatever words of praise you get, that is saying to them, they don't need to push harder. They don't need to, they will never go farther than those people ask.
Right.
Like that is as far as they will ever go. Is they will compromise a teeny bit to what those people are asking. But if those people aren't asking for more, it's never going to happen. So that's incredibly depressing. So when people go after the squad and whatnot, I mean, you know, show me your path to it. Like these people will say, we need to elect a few more people so we can get past Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. Like we need
leverage
like
power.
A few more people is going to matter. It's not that there will be.
They could have done something. Actually, they had enough people to do something to leverage power. They did. right? So
and they still do is the thing. So
right.
like when people ride their asses and are harsh as all hell on them to a level that I'm not,
Right.
but that is because these people want the policy. They like now is the moment. Now, like if you're not leveraging your power now.
Yeah. But
Okay, so
also the other thing I do want to also say is that, again, they are being worked on by corporations, by lobbyists from the second they step into Congress, from the second they're actually a viable candidate. By the time regular people like you and me, anybody on Twitter or anybody who has like a podcast following, by the time any of us is actually demanding something, we are so beyond, like behind the we're so behind the time, right? Like they're already getting all of the huge influx of powerful companies and Wall Street, and like they're getting that.
right.
So
Like, okay, when AOC, for example, when she first came to whatever, when she first came to office,
right, when she
one of the first things she did was disclose the new new Congress people meeting, the new I don't know, initiation meeting, I don't know what you call it. But she tweeted this out to people. She talked about it. Is that okay? For all the new people in Congress, they had all this lobbyist stuff going on where they had all these corporate people pushing all these messages to them.
Yeah.
Right. So, and she was really up in arms about it. And that was the first thing that happened. And then where her power is to expose a lot of that. Like, because we can't we'll never change things with just two more people on the left, or three more or four more. Right. You need to make it so clear to the public that this is fucked.
Yeah.
That we get 10 more.
Yeah.
15 more.
And also to make, even AOC, who I'm not a fraud squad person. I don't think that's not where I'm living. But what happens when people hold her accountable? Because the truth is, nobody to the right of her, she's like not that far left, but nobody to the right of her cares anything about what I think or you think, right?
Bullshit. So they follow me on Twitter.
Pelosi loves you. Pelosi loves you. No, but really, like, they don't care. So the only people who possibly will respond to our demands are the squad, right? The Cori Bushes and the Jamal Bowmans and the squad. Why is Ayanna Pressley in that squad is ridiculous to me. It like blows me away, but okay, fine. But what we do when we keep demanding things from them is give them the space to fulfill the promises that they ran on. Because as soon as we're quiet and say, oh, we just trust, which is ridiculous. Why would you just trust? Like, I don't believe in God. I'm not going to believe in some lady from Brooklyn or Queens. Like, I don't believe in any of that. You just do your work and show me your policies, right? So, but the more we push them, the more they have to respond to us, the more we give them the space to say to their to the corporate donors, like, listen, I'm not going to get this job again if I don't listen to my constituents. And if we don't do that, then we've just completely abdicated our duty as citizens. It's our duty to keep fighting them and telling them what they need to do. And and they rely on that from us. That's the thing, is I think they actually need that. If we don't do that, like, why do you think I get 10 emails a day from Bernie saying, please sign this petition, please sign this, right? And Jayapal and all of them, right? We all get all these same emails saying, please sign a petition, please sign it. They need to show this is what's being asked of me by my constituents. And if we don't do that, if we just kowtow to them, then we're just letting Wall Street and the MIC win. Like, it's just over. Is this the chill time? Am I chill? Do you feel chill?
No, I just wanted to add, I'm incredibly depressed.
I'm sorry. Okay, wait. I'm gonna
no, because I agree 1000%. We've been here so many times, and the same pressure. So here's the thing: this is a pyramid of pressure.
Right.
We need to pressure the squad, who needs to pressure the Biden administration.
Right.
If we are okay with the squad, then they're going to not do shit.
Right.
I mean, because they're under tremendous pressures that we don't deal with. So the people that are like squad defenders are like the most annoying people on the earth. Like, I get that, like, let's not make them out to be,
evil
they're not,
or whatever. Like,
yeah,
but hold them to account.
But even if they are, like, okay, but our pressuring them makes them withholding to us, which then puts pressure on Biden, and then he's beholden to them. So
it actually gives them power.
It gives them power to not take.
Yes, to not just.
That's I don't know, that's what kills me about this whole, like, trust them shit. I
don't trust anybody.
You shouldn't.
Like, of course not.
But even if you trust them, okay, so the public pressure, the publicness of all of this is an integral part of them.
Yes.
Needing, like, without, like, okay, so let's just say we trust this guy. We trust them 100%. Okay, so we're just fine. We're not hammering them. So when they go to Biden and they're like, the progressive wing really needs you to pass this $15 minimum wage because it's everything. Like, Democrats won't win all these elections if you don't pass this.
You ran on it, motherfucker.
Right? So
you ran on that.
Yeah, but if we're not on their asses about that, if we're not, if there isn't this visual
pressure,
vocal pressure, they don't have the same pressure to push up to Biden.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, so taking that, and I know, like, our whole thing is, punch up, and I really do believe that. And I'm not interested in canceling or whatever the hell, but, like, it makes me wonder, what is the strategy for the people who are trying to make those of us who are trying to put pressure, I'm not a cancel or a fraud squad. I'm not that. But without our pressure, then they get to say, like, Biden's getting an A. He's more progressive than I thought he would be. He's fine. Like, when you do that, what does that get anybody? I don't even understand the politics of that, because the truth is the lobbyists haven't given up pressure for a second. Not for a second. They are pressuring him constantly. So, where is the political awareness of the people who think we should just trust? Because on the other side, they're not trusting anything. They're constantly exerting pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it's nonsense. It's a lot of propaganda, to be honest. So, like, the people, if you want to defend the squad because you do trust them, like, take a look inside and think, like, what is the benefit of trusting them 100% versus a little pressure on them, a little
demanding
whatever,
what they ran on. Yeah.
Not even demanding, but, like, if you're that person, can you not understand the benefit of people who don't agree with you, who are harsher on them, putting them under pressure to perform, putting them under pressure to fulfill their pledges, putting them under pressure, period. Like, if you do that, it just trickles up. It's like they're under pressure. They need to complete some things. They need to show some success. So they're going to put that pressure on the Biden. If that pressure doesn't exist to put on the Biden, if Biden can say to them, well, your constituents are happy with you right now.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? You know, it's all they're weighing these things, you know,
exactly.
and but I don't even want to get into it, but they're not even weighing it to win elections. They're weighing it of like,
how do we keep funneling money to the, I mean, honestly, at this point, I feel like,
how unpissed off is the general population? Because it's not even about like, there's never going to be a revolution in this country. I'm sorry, people, but let's save that for another show. But it's maintaining the pissed offness of the public is the whole thing. They don't even care about winning that much these days.
They don't. I actually think they rely on losing sometimes. So much better. Like I mean, you want to talk grift, it's so much better when they lose and they can just keep talking about Trump. Look at what's happened to mainstream media with Trump gone, right? They tried with like Marjorie, whatever, Green, Taylor Green, like they're trying everything to give the boogeyman. And the truth is the boogeyman's just there. Like, oh, really? Was it so bad that Gorsuch got onto the Supreme Court as opposed to Merrick Garland? The shell game that the establishment has played on most of the public is twofold. There are the people who think that they're involved in politics and they just feel like they're going to vote for their team. And then there's 50% of the country who knows nothing changes either way and they're done. And that's not a democracy. Like, we've shut that down. So
holy shit, we need to talk about the show.
We really do, because listen, I'm 5 glasses into my 14.5% wine, and right, it's rough. It's what's it hard out here for? Anyway, okay, we watched So You Don't Have To is one of my favorite ideas in theory. When I had to press record and watch Bill Maher, who had been somebody I used to watch him every week for years, back when he was politically incorrect, and then all the way through until about 4 years ago. I was a staunch Bill Maher watcher. My mom still watches him, and I hadn't watched him in years, but I did it, and I feel dirty, but I did it. What's your feeling about the whole Bill Maher from last Friday?
I'm torn because I have to let my cat out.
Oh, Jesus. Paula,
because he's screaming back here, and it's, you know, honestly, we watch this so you don't have to, which is equally as important as me letting my cat out. So
let Pablo go. He was incredibly important at a certain point about 2 decades ago, but I stopped watching him 6 years ago, 5 years ago, when he was really pushing the neoliberal line. So I watched him this past week, and I pressed pause and replay 10 times during the 30-second intro. Like, how dare he show the Black Lives Matter protests with a fist up? What is he trying to do right there, right? Like, that was so offensive to me. There was, I'm just like, the white people shopping with the shopping cart versus the homeless people. This is a guy who does not support Medicare for all or a living wage.
Yeah. So for anyone, just to explain, we definitely watched this terrible thing that we all have watched. If you were a progressive, you used to probably at some point think Bill Maher was funny.
Oh yeah.
And then you realized how homophobic, transphobic, racist, misogynist,
Islamophobic.
Islamophobic. Like he hits all the buttons, but you know, you can give that sort of a pass because he's Mr. Comedy Guy. But then once you get past that and you realize he's not Mr. Progressive, you realize how
And he's not
centrist.
funny.
Well, he's not funny,
Okay.
which is kind of insulting because he did use my jokes on air. He's used my jokes. He literally used my shit. So that's kind of an insult
He
on
didn't send
me.
you
But
$50 to your
no,
show.
he definitely jacked my shit directly, for the record. But my point is, you realize what a propagandist he is, and so this show that we watched, so you don't have to, was pure propaganda, like extreme propaganda. I mean, Paul Begala was on the show. Paul Begala, anything out of his mouth, it like, okay. I don't know if I should jump in.
No, do, because I'm looking at my
Okay.
notes. I was like, I mean, furiously for 6 pages here, I have notes.
Okay, so I honestly at this point don't know which person said this. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was either Paul Begala or Bill Maher himself. And I feel like it was Paul Begala, because he's if you want to know what the propaganda out of the Democratic Party is, what narratives they're going to be pushing, follow Paul Begala, because he is like they trial test the worst things. It's like the worst, like he's just like a little worse than most people will go, but he's saying the things that they want to push. The Democratic Party wants to push these narratives. So I think it was him. It could have been Bill Maher. This is my asterisk. But he said the Nobel Prize for stupidity should go to whoever came up with defund the police.
They are pushing that. The whole Democratic Party is pushing that right now. Yeah.
So a third of the show ish was dedicated to downplaying this idea of defunding the police.
Yep.
I mean, that was a big thing. So like, let's see some more. So, okay. So they talked about Texas. And this is where Paul Begala really shines. He said, you know, Texas has a radical Texas governor. He says, and Democrats are losing support in Texas. And he points out that, you know, Biden, like Hillary had, or Obama had a huge amount of support in the border communities. And Biden, even though he won the border communities, it went from like a 50% majority to like 1% or something. Right. It was like neck and neck. And he said, why? And Begala says he talked to voters, and this is where they just pull bullshit out of their ass.
Yeah.
He talked to voters, like, you know,
some guy.
So here's a guy, he's not like saying like we did some polling, even polling's bullshit, but he doesn't even have bullshit polling. He's just like, we talked to voters. I met
on the street. Yeah.
Yeah. He's pulling the who's the guy who always met in a coffee shop?
Yeah.
What's that guy's name?
Yeah.
Paul Begala is like the professional, that guy.
I overheard a guy in a coffee shop say.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, so I talked to voters who said all the jobs are in fracking, border patrol, and policing. And you guys are against all of that. So that's why Democrats did worse in those border patrol towns. So in that one little piece of bullshit propaganda, he's saying you should support fracking.
Exactly.
You should be pro border patrol, and you should not be trying to defund the police, which is weird because that's pretty much how Democrats won the election, is saying that they were supporting those things.
I mean,
they were anti-fracking. They were pro defunding, or whatever version of that you want to spin.
Yeah.
You know, but we literally have.
It's such a lie, and mainstream media supports it. They're doing the same thing right now with Eric Adams, who just won in New York. And they're saying, well, there goes your defund the police theory, because there's the guy who's a cop and he won. And Andrew Yang blew his own support because he was trying to act like he was progressive and was clearly not. And the other two progressives were not consistently progressive. But what's happening right now is that mainstream media is going to create this narrative where they say, oh, well, clearly what New York wanted was an anti-defund the police candidate.
to me, this is my perspective. The whole point of that show was twofold. It was to say that defund the police is a narrative we have to get rid of. It's toxic. Like, you can't defund the police if you want to win. That was kind of that was half the spin. You can't know if this is orchestrated or not, but Bill Maher goes into this thing pretending he's like going to attack Joe Manchin.
Right.
And Bill Maher comes out of it saying, you guys should all love Joe Manchin because Joe Manchin votes with us 20% of the time.
We need him there. We need him there, or we wouldn't have. Whatever.
Right. And that, and that all sounds incredibly logical. Like, when you say to people that aren't following all this stuff very closely, which is pretty much Bill Maher's audience, it's like people that are like concerned, but they're not like
no matter who
living. They're not living in the weeds and following this stuff. They're just watching HBO for some comedy. And, but so those people, they hear that and it makes sense. It's like, okay, so Joe Manchin votes for 30% of Democratic policies. Well, that's 30% more than any Republican would ever vote for. Right. But the problem is the Democratic Party worked their asses off to get Joe Manchin in there because they don't want someone. A progressive can win in that state 100%.
Paula Swearengin would have won if they had
Bernie.
Yeah.
Please educate them on Bernie and the counties.
I mean, here's the thing, and I feel like we need to just pummel this into people's brains. Bernie won 55 of the 55 counties in West Virginia. They want his policies. The whole country wants those policies. We know that they are majority supported. But what the mainstream media is going to keep on doing is saying, oh no, well, it's a very right-wing state and they need Joe Manchin. And what they don't talk about is that state has been so decimated that they don't have clean water. They have sewage running into their water. They don't have schools that are really on any level at where, like, we don't have schools, we don't have water, we don't have air quality. We have people who are working for a substandard living wage. And people get to a point where after a while, and they see the corruption in both parties, a lot of people just disengage. And people who are in the establishment, the structures of power, they kind of count on that disengagement. I mean, the disenfranchisement of people who vote, that is a winning strategy for people who are already in power. And when Paula Jean was on our show talking about and Kaylen Barker also, both of them spoke so eloquently about how when Bernie was running and the people in their state were so grateful that anybody was taking the time to listen to them. We have so decimated our country and we have taken away the hope of anybody. And what that does is it depletes your voting structure, right? We know that 50% of our population doesn't even show up to vote because they know nothing changes, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat. And it's something that I know from my liberal friends, it's really upsetting to them. And they like to blame non-voters. But the truth is, non-voters are non-voters because of what's happening in our political infrastructure, right? They're not working for their constituency. So why would anybody show up to vote for them?
So that brings up something I forgot to mention about the Bill Maher show. So one of the critical things that he did, or critical, but I don't know, one of the things I observed him doing a lot was rehab. He never talked about Democrats. He always said liberals. And that was a really interesting thing because he wasn't using it liberals like bad. He was revamping the word liberals, like we're the good people liberals.
Right.
Like there was a, like, please watch a show on that, because I swear to God, 20 liberals instead of Democrats, in a good way. He was saying liberals in a good way. So, I mean, that's not that, but that wasn't the thing before. Like, even like if you roll back 6 months ago, he was like, oh, liberals bad. Like, I'm like not a liberal. And now it's like liberals good. We're liberals. Democrats are liberals. Liberals good.
Yeah. You know what was really fascinating to me? So I'm going to move ahead a little bit on his episode, which was,
thank God.
He's
end
having,
it. Please end it.
He's having a difficult time with his audience as a comedian. And he really resents when they don't laugh at his jokes. Oh, and he's done this for years, but he blames them, and he has a really antagonistic relationship with his audience. And it's just a funny way to try to build a rapport. I mean, it's like the exact opposite of what you want to do as somebody on stage. And then when he starts talking about cancel culture, and this is the second time now I've seen it, he had Bill Burr on, who didn't bite. He now had Nikki
like 2 months ago or something. Like I saw that episode.
And he was talking about cancel culture. And again, she was like, yeah, you gotta kind of roll with it. Like, you're a comedian, and if people aren't getting it, or if they don't like it, like maybe like shift your vibe. And Bill Burr said the same thing. And it's fascinating to me that he's so hung up on like people not understanding or appreciating his humor that he's going to blame them. Like, and like, I'm an actress, as somebody who is, my whole job is supposed to be to communicate to people. When they're not getting your communication, you gotta, like, that's your fault. You can't blame them. That's you, right? And it's just such a funny way. He's so angry with his own audience.
So that thing about him has bugged me for years. Like, even when I liked him, it bugged me. Like, I want to say, I mean, so pre Bernie's run, it was hard to sort of hate him, because it was like sort of like, we liked Matt, like generally people on the left like Maddow and him at the same time. Right. Because you weren't exposed to a lot of the contrast. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying everyone. I wish I was someone that saw some of this for what it was before that. But he's always been awful. I mean, like, when he says an unfunny joke, the first thing he does is sort of like, I didn't get laughs. Like, you guys must be not PC enough. Like, you guys are too PC. You guys are like, upset. And I mean, let's just talk about, like, okay, next time you watch him, watch how many times he claps near his mic. Like, I'm not a Hollywood person. I don't know mics. I don't know setup, but it's annoying. He claps near his mic. You always hear his clap. Yeah. And he insults his audience. He has so much disdain for his audience.
It's crazy to see that, right?
Like, it's crazy. Like, yeah, I don't know how anyone could like him.
I mean, again, and not like, okay, so now I'm like, because of my OCD and trying to like thread the needle here, but like the opposite of what we're trying to do. I don't know if you can hear my phone telling me I have a low battery, but that's what's happening. But right, we're like, punch up, right? You punch up to the people who are in power. And what he's doing is blaming his audience for not finding his lame jokes funny. It's so weird. And then to have comedian after comedian on his show to try to get him, like, to pull them onto his side, and they don't bite. I mean, right. Bill Burr and Nikki Glaser were like, nope, it's fine. Just
Bill Burr really didn't want to tolerate his bullshit. He pushed back good. Like,
and so did Nikki Glaser. They were both just like, no, that's not it. Like, be funnier. I mean, just be funnier. You see people working so hard. Like, you see somebody like Paula Jean, who was running against one of the most corrupt members of Congress, who Democrats are right now going to be talking about how he is the one person who is the block to everything that Democrats want to do, Joe Manchin. And yet when she was running against Joe Manchin, where was the DSCC? They weren't supporting her. There was a total media shutout on her.
No, but that's the point of our interview with Paula, is like, I mean, what would it, like, literally, what would it take you for the mainstream press to cover Paula Jean? I mean, you know, since we did our interview, she got arrested today. So maybe they covered that.
No, nothing. I
nothing. Okay. So let's just say her arrest is unrelated. It's not that important. But I mean, Joe Manchin was on an audio, like, okay, first off, a leaked audio call right there. Right there, you have huge media presence, like leaked audio call before anything.
Right.
And holy shit, the ratings go off the roof. The ratings go off the roof, like leaked audio call. Right. So here's a leaked audio call where you've got Joe Manchin reaching out to donors,
bribing Republicans.
Yeah, saying we should pass this stuff so that I don't have to get rid of the filibuster. Right. Saying you should give money to Joe Lieberman's organization, which is there only to give money to moderate Republicans and conservative Democrats. Like that's the primary goal, right? So here's Joe Manchin saying, because I don't want to be under pressure to get rid of the filibuster, I hope people pass this thing, which is an awful thing. And that's his whole thing. So, but okay, so you've got, so that's one story. The second story is obviously the Democratic Party in West Virginia. They were mandated 40 plus years ago to pass an affirmative action plan. And 40 years later,
the night before.
Yeah, 40 years later, they're trying to pass it, and it's the whitest thing on earth. And literally, people of color that are in the voting powers within the West Virginia Democratic Party are excluded from the Zoom and blocked. And they, as a group, said, we want our voices heard. This is ridiculous. You can't pass an affirmative action program and vote on it without our input. And they were muted and blocked out, and
nobody on MSNBC or CNN or anybody has covered that.
But so how is that not a story? That's the thing. How is that not a story? And when that's not a story, there should be incredible outrage. So like anyone not covering the story, like just
they're complicit because they're.
I mean, I'm not saying
that happen.
Yeah, I'm not saying like someone at our stupid level of punditry, podetry, is podetry a thing?
We're covering it, Pat. That's us.
But I'm punching up. So I'm saying people above us.
Yeah.
Which is most
covering
people, to be honest. Let's be
everybody.
Honest. But how are you? Yeah. Okay, but if you're mainstream media and not covering this, it's pretty obvious why you're not, because this is you can't say this is not a ratings boost. This story is dramatic. This story meets all the things. You've got a leaked audio. You've got racism. You got all these things that should be like just powder kegs for interest and get viewers. And you could talk about this for weeks of like how, if you really want to stop Manchin and you really care about all these policies that Manchin is blocking, you should be hammering this stuff all the time.
The Affirmative Action Committee is actually supposed to draft the affirmative action plan, because that's the whole point of the plan, is to have minority voices build that plan and then adopt it for the entire party for the state. But that's not what happened. Glenda Beafor, the chair, decided to go ahead and just write affirmative action plan on her own, and no one from the Affirmative Action Committee had any input in it. And we're told in a meeting the night before this executive meeting that, sorry about your luck, we're pushing it through, nothing you can do about it. So that was the whole point of this meeting, was to push through and force down the throats of the executive committee this meeting, or this affirmative action plan. Basically, the affirmative action plan that she came up with was literally copied and pasted from another state. There was actually even some stuff that was left in there that wasn't even changed over to West Virginia. So it was obvious that she didn't put any time or effort into this. And the affirmative action committee unanimously voted that plan down and said that they wanted, extra time in order to have their voices in this plan, because that's the point. It's to have the minority voices be part of the plan for affirmative action and reaching out to disenfranchised people in West Virginia. But, whenever Marianne Clater, woman of color, was trying to offer up an amendment, she was immediately shut down and told, no, we're not taking any other amendments and whatever. And just it was muted and basically told to shut up and sit down. It was the most blatant it was just the most blatant instance of racism and discrimination that I've ever seen unfold at an event connected to the Democratic Party. But no one's talking about it, and that's the biggest issue, is that she's going to get away with even more than what she's already gotten away with for, a decade.
Oh, okay. So that means that we don't have any voice in this, and I don't even know why y'all have a caucus.
As a Black American, this is a slap in the face. As a Black West Virginia, this is a slap in the.
I move we adjourn.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Aye.
No.
The fact that these two big stories broke this week in West Virginia should put West Virginia on the radar, and they haven't. And we know why. And that's
we tend to get covered. We tend to get coverage when we want to be stigmatized as dumb hillbillies that don't have teeth and shoes and brains. Not that not having teeth is bad or not having shoes, but it's just we're stigmatized. Why is the chair of the party allowed to be racist and CNN not cover it? Is what I want to know.
Right.
Because when, we're willing to take this black eye, but this black eye might change something. But we're just tired of taking black eyes just because for the sake of the media, making us turning us into circus acts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the leadership of the party is not indicative of the values of the Democrats in the state. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize. They're like, well, oh, of course, West Virginians are racist, ignorant hillbillies, but that's not the case. We're not all that stereotype. Are there racist people in West Virginia? Of course, there's racist people in California and New York City. It's everywhere. But as a whole, West Virginians are really loving and caring and compassionate individuals who don't care about who you love or what color you are or any of that. That doesn't matter to us. It's being a West Virginian and an Appalachian means so much more to us than any of the other divisive stuff that people tried to pit us against each other with.
But that's exactly it. The Democratic Party wants that stereotype to continue as long as possible because it's their justification for Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
And Joe Manchin is the boogeyman that justifies them never passing anything Democratic, which is why that leaked audio tape is so important, is that he was trying to justify funding Republicans essentially so that they don't have to eliminate the filibuster. And if you eliminate the filibuster, the Democratic Party actually has some onus to pass some of the progressive policies they ran on. And so he's the perfect scapegoat. And if West Virginia is not hard right Republican, the Democratic Party has to change, and they don't want that.
I mean, all 55 counties went for an old socialist Jewish man. So obviously it was about the policies.